of Coffee with Karl and Rob. I'm Rob Hipp, Director of Operations at SHN Sports. Karl Schoening, Director of Broadcasting, also my best friend, joining us this morning.
And also a coffee addict.
Yeah, I've got my little cup of coffee here, but no coffee inside of it. But that'll be filling up next time, Karl. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Rob. You know, finally through that little hectic season where you were moving back from Fargo and you're now in Huntsville, and we're through Easter. We just did the first time ever a Gaelic-Irish soccer match. We did that for TG4, one of the big TV stations out there in Ireland. So that was quite an experience, and I now have brilliant as an adjective that I use to describe things after that little, 24 hours of getting to meet those Irish people and learning how to play Irish football or Gaelic Irish football. The entire broadcast was in the language Gaelic Irish, which is really cool because that was sort of dying, but now the younger generations are trying to bring it back. So, yeah, you do something new every week in this industry if you're really trying hard. And, I think that's easily one of the most fun new things that I've done recently.
Yeah, it's kind of, you're making me think of the old school like Pig Latin. It's bringing back a language. But man, a lot of fun, a lot of things that we're doing here at SHN Sports, and that's where we're starting this. You'll be able to tune in with us every week right here at the same time around 9:30 a.m. or so. Today, getting started around 9:45. But we're going to highlight different things in the broadcasting industry. And this morning, wanted to touch base on just getting started with sports broadcasting in 2023. And we'll talk more about the SHN Sports Association and what all that entails as well, in depth and more videos. Of course, you can always join the association to get more in-depth content at members.shnsports.com. So if you're out there this morning or if you're watching on a replay saying, hey, I'd like to get involved in sports broadcasting, I don't know where to start, I don't know how to do sales, I don't know how to build a platform, start a YouTube channel, all that is information that we'll be constantly providing here on SHN Sports. But Coffee with Karl and Rob, it's a free one. We're going to provide a little bit of information to kind of give you a tease, but it's 2023. Time's moving on. We've been in business now getting close to a decade, and we've seen a lot of changes in the industry, Karl, and now everyone, it seems like, has access, and at least you have an opportunity to access very professional, affordable broadcast equipment.
That's exactly right, Rob. I want to say, let's go back as far as maybe 2013. That was just when we were scratching the surface, if you will, of a video and audio broadcast. And really, the equipment wasn't quite there. The bandwidth for the internet wasn't really there yet. But, fast forward to around 2015, we started to incorporate video into our broadcasts. And since about that time, it's become much more commonplace. And then I remember we sort of joked, and it's not all that funny, but it's funny how it worked out, where we said in 2015, 5 years from now, everybody's going to be live streaming. And then, we had no idea that in 2020, 5 years later, the world would need live streaming at a much higher rate. So, the fact that we were sort of ahead of the curve there really prepared us for the pandemic. And then it wasn't necessarily because of the pandemic, because we were on the way there with technology, but because of the pandemic, a lot more people were putting money into new equipment that had just sort of started to come out. And I think that really sparked a very big boom in our industry. So sports broadcasting is booming like never before. You're having a much higher demand for something that really wasn't much of a product 5, 6, 7 years ago before the pandemic. But now everybody wants the high school football games, obviously live stream, but you're probably also looking at the wrestling matches, the soccer matches, the graduations, everything that you can live stream. You probably are going to have some kind of demand as either somebody who is skilled to do that or just to be an on-air talent to add some commentary to that. So, we get it all the time, Rob. How do you get into this industry? And I think we need to say that it's changed a whole lot since someone like my dad, who's currently the radio play-by-play voice of the San Antonio Spurs, he got into it in the 70s. It's way different than that because nowadays you can't rely on a radio station or a TV station to give you your breaks. You got to make your own breaks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the number one thing. Sports broadcasting in 2023, we'll start off with that. Make your own breaks. So when we created SHN Sports, Karl and I were blessed with the privilege to get this going. Our first school actually was Jarrell, a little 3A school north of Georgetown, Texas. And then immediately following, within days of founding SHN, actually, we were able to pull on Georgetown, able to broadcast them outside of Austin, and things continued. But you're exactly right. I met with your dad, and he said, Rob, get out there and go create something. And so you and I got together, put our heads together, and that's how SHN Sports got started. So, yeah, I think first and foremost in this industry, you have to create your own breaks. Don't have excuses saying, oh, well, so-and-so's not calling me, or, man, I'm good enough, but why aren't people reaching out to me? First of all, you got to humble yourself. You can't go around saying I'm good enough, because there's always somebody way better than you, and it doesn't matter how high up the chain you are. That's a fact. But get out there and make your own breaks. The easiest way to do it, go call up a school and say, hey, I'm interested in broadcasting for your program. There are numerous opportunities for you, Karl, as you know, to get out and make your own breaks, just like we did when we started SHN.
Yeah, you look at it, and it's funny that you bring up Georgetown, because we both did a Georgetown ISD school that first year. I did Eastview, you did Georgetown, and then down the road we did a lot of basketball. And the main thing that we did was we made it hard for them to say no, because you're a natural-born salesman, Rob. I like to think that I could close a couple sales, but I'm more of a sales architect in a way, because I think I know what our product is worth and such. But really all it takes to start is find somebody who will back you, and start with just the basic equipment of high-quality audio. So when I say high-quality audio, I mean, don't drop $30 on a headset, because it'll sound like you're trying to go through a tin can. There are nicer headsets that probably start around $70. And unfortunately, these Audio-Technica headsets that I'm using right now and that we use a lot in SHN Sports started at around $150 and became so popular during the pandemic that I think they bumped it all the way up to like $220, and they came out with a new version that's like $250. So these what once were what I considered affordable headsets might not be considered affordable these days. So, you know, that's part of what we do at SHN, is we'll constantly try out new products. So we need to get on that, Rob, find a new high-quality, affordable product. But, yeah, start with audio, and then as you build, as you find more advertisers, use that money to incorporate video. And then as you have video and audio, you can really start to sell a little bit more on your product, and then just put money back into it. But really, speaking from the perspective of somebody just trying to improve as an on-air broadcaster, yeah, you might, if you're starting out, I don't know how many games I did for free. I did a lot for free before I could start to get paid. And I think that the main thing to realize is also you have to do it a fair amount and realize that it's something you want to do. I think we've run into plenty of people, Rob, who started it, they might have enjoyed it, but they didn't really enjoy it enough to commit. Because let's be honest, when you're starting out, there's not pay in here. Even if you do get paid, might be anywhere from $25 to $75 a game, and you're not going to be able to live off that. So sales will help you kind of get a little bit of that money back that you've invested in equipment, maybe work with a booster club, but really it's all about getting the gigs, the reps, and just call up a school and see what you can work out. Maybe hedge your bets and call up multiple schools, see what they're doing for their broadcasts, and if they don't have anything going on for their broadcasts, boom, opportunity. And just let that opportunity grow, maintain good relationships with people. You never know where you're going to end up.
Yeah, 100%, man. And so today here with Karl Schoening, our Director of Broadcasting. I'm Rob Hipp, Director of Operations here at SHN Sports. We're just talking about how to get started with sports broadcasting in 2023. We've already mentioned make your own breaks. Get out there, create opportunities, call up a school. Maybe there's a girls program at a high school that's not getting coverage. Did you know there's also a lot of Division I programs that don't have audio broadcasts for women's basketball? That's a great way to get your foot in the door with a Division I program, is go and start with women's broadcasting. Our good friends at Learfield, they look a lot for broadcasters that are moving up, starting with women's basketball in Division I. So that's a good opportunity to get your foot in the door. We mentioned there, using high-quality audio equipment. Invest in it. It's not that expensive. These Audio-Technica headsets, $200. Sounds like a lot, but the quality that you're putting out is so much better than a cheap $30 headset. You know, there's still folks out there 20 years later that are in this business that are still using those kind of headsets. Don't do that. People expect to hear good audio. I think the third thing that you mentioned is invest in high-quality video equipment. You don't have to start with a $1,200 or $1,500 camera. We use Canon and Sony little camcorders. Those have worked great just on a budget to get started. They do produce good quality, high quality. If you want that really good HD quality, that's where you invest in the other cameras. And then I think the fourth thing, too, is Do it because you love it, not for the pay. You talked about that, Karl. Get out there. You're going to have to work some games for free. It's not a problem. Just be involved. Bring something to a program that doesn't have it, and you, all of a sudden, you can kind of be that little miracle worker for the team saying, you know what? These guys have never had a broadcast, and now you're the guy that's bringing it to them. But don't let that get to your head. You also have to remain humble in this industry, Karl, and that's something that we've talked about a lot over the years.
Yeah, and really sort of going hand in hand with that is don't be scared to start at the more or less bottom, right? Like whatever you think might be the bottom, right? It's important to somebody else. They'll think it's cool that there's a broadcast. And who knows, you might find yourself a little niche doing something that some other people might call the bottom, right? Because I would say the beginner level of broadcasting is the high school level. I'm not putting any of the high school players down. I just think that that's where the demand is at its highest for broadcasters, but also at the same time, that's where you'll find the most entry-level guys. And I'm not saying that everybody who does high school is entry-level either. Like, we still do high school sports, Rob, and we've been in this industry for over 10 years now each. So when you talk about the, I guess starting from the bottom and working your way up, you had mentioned doing a Division I women's basketball team. Well, to be honest with you, if you're within your first 100 broadcasts for basketball, you're probably not ready to do a women's basketball at the even maybe Division III level. So, get your reps in. And I say that not trying to put anybody down because this is an industry about constantly improving. I can tell you that I was in the industry, broadcasting games for about 10 years when we did that NCAA Division II basketball tournament, and I came across that not too long ago, and I would say that just in, we're talking about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I've made leaps and bounds. I'm so much better than I was back then because it was important to me to listen to myself and keep progressing. So, that's probably part 2 of this episode is how do you keep advancing? And the real answer is you just keep doing it. And, don't burn bridges and don't be mean to people. I won't name names, but I can tell you that there are people out there that you and I agree are not going to move up in the world, not necessarily because of their talent or their skill level, but because they just don't treat people right. They rub people the wrong way. They say the wrong things. So, part of communication is being aware of your own communication. So make sure that, like you said, stay humble. Don't consider anything beneath you. Keep working hard. Do as many broadcasts as you can. I'll tell you what, the big reason that I'm better from that 2019 stretch to right now is because I kid you not, probably 100 broadcasts, if not, over 150 broadcasts in 2020 when we had that big streaming boom, if you will, because it was just a need. I remember there were times where I would do 7 broadcasts a week. So, really just keep doing it, keep improving, stay positive, be a good person. And, if you're not having fun with it, then be done with it because the NBA, the NFL, the Major League Baseball, it's not guaranteed. And when I say it's not guaranteed, I'm saying it is like hitting the lottery. It is. Yeah. It is not the reason you should get into sports broadcasting. But if you stick around long enough, you might get some opportunities with some NCAA colleges, Division II, Division III, and maybe that'll progress you into Division I. You might get some chances to do some fun, big-time high school games on maybe these growing networks like a Flow Sports. You never know what you might get thrown at you. So the other one last little tidbit on do as much broadcasting as you can is don't pigeonhole yourself. Don't be just a football play-by-play guy or just a basketball play-by-play guy. Go out there and try a soccer broadcast. Learn the rules. We'll have a whole nother episode on, learning how to do another sport. But really, don't turn down opportunities unless you feel like you really aren't comfortable given maybe like a time restraint or something along those lines, because it is really good. You never know what's going to come of an opportunity where you said yes to it. And then next thing you know, you find out that you really like doing something like, Rob, what is it you did a few weeks ago? Wrestling?
Wrestling. And I was nervous. I'll be honest. I didn't know anything about wrestling. Never knew the rules and understand how it worked, but it was a big thing up north. And you know what I did to get through that broadcast? And I don't want to say I just got through it. I feel like I did a good job. Could I have done better? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Could have done a million times better. But I found someone who actually wrestled with that program at North Dakota State. He hopped on the broadcast with me, and he kind of really walked me through it, and it worked out great because he had knowledge of the sport. But I like what you said earlier. I'm going to put this on a T-shirt. If you're not having fun with it, be done with it. I think that that's so true. There's been times in my career in this industry where I said, if I'm not having fun doing it, I'm not going to do it anymore. And there has been a couple of times where I finally have gotten to that point to say, this isn't really fun anymore. And I've moved on and found other opportunities within the industry. There may be certain situations that you get involved in. Don't force yourself to be in a situation that you're just really not enjoying. Now, with that, I will say this, that I truthfully believe that we find our calling in life when we step out of our comfort zone. That is an opportunity for us to step into our calling. That's a whole nother episode as well that we could go down a rabbit hole on. But at the end of the day, you find opportunities, create them, make them happen. You can be the guy that creates that and does it. And I will say this too. You brought up a really good point, Carl, a while ago, talking about women's basketball, particularly at Division I level. There was a young man that I worked with at North Dakota State that he had only did high school broadcasting. They needed a new women's broadcaster. He sent in a tape. It'd been a few years. He ended up getting that Division I gig. So you can get those opportunities, but you've got to have experience. High school is always a great place to start, to build up those reps, to build up that experience. And for me, I've been blessed to call Division I, at almost the highest level as far as football goes. The FCS is right behind the FBS, and at Sam Houston State, won a national championship, was very thankful to be on the call for that game, and then was blessed for a year up at North Dakota State, went up there and was able to call a game where NDSU, the Bison, went to the national championship, unfortunately losing on their 10th time when they have won the previous 9. But you know what, Carl? I'm at a point now to where I've been blessed. I'm so thankful to call at that level. But I'm very thankful and humbled to still call if a division I'm talking high school. If a 2A or a 3A high school called, I would go broadcast them in a heartbeat because I've been at that level. There's some great things, some great opportunities, but I still really do have a big heart for calling high school sports. And, yeah, I want to get back into Division I one day, obviously. But you know what? You humble yourself in this industry too, and it's when you humble yourself and you have that knowledge, if you've been at that higher level, you can take it back down to a small school at the high school level and really help their program and put on a professional broadcast. So always be flexible, have fun most of all, and enjoy what you do.
Yeah, and I think that that's the biggest thing here is to just sort of enjoy what you're doing because really what we're sort of encouraging you guys to do here at the SHN Sports Association is to become a production company, right? Like, I think that we are somebody who is successful as a production company. We enjoy doing it, but we jokingly have this thing, Rob, where we call it the ultimate conquest, right? So it's one of those things where we don't want to get into managing people. We don't want to get into ripping off schools by saying, oh, hey, for a 10-game season for football, doing a video broadcast, it's going to cost you 10 grand or whatever the going rate is these days, because that's roughly where some of our competitors, if we call them competitors, are at. And we think that investing that $10,000 instead of paying us, instead of paying somebody that's, might be considered a competitor, that $10,000, invest it in your own broadcast system. If you're a booster club, if you're a guy who is working for one of those people, just say, hey, make a deal with the booster club where they own the equipment and stuff, because down the road, you're going to want to buy new equipment and you're going to want to do higher end stuff. And that's really what sort of got us doing NCAA gigs, Rob. You got to do Southwestern. We did some St. Ed stuff with them on that NCAA tournament. And I think that that was a big thing for me in 2020 when we did so many Division III games as a live streaming company, because we were ahead of the curve. We taught Southwestern how to do some live streaming, and they still use our gear recommendations to this day. So I saw them in there with that Sony X1500 that I recommended to them with the ATEM Mini and everything. So, really, it comes down to you can make a lot of opportunities owning this equipment to where someone will say, hey, we would like this broadcast, but we don't have any gear. You sort of fit yourself in a niche where you're not trying to, I guess, make an overhead that isn't more than paying yourself. That's really where I think we sort of had that we were able to offer or put in a bid lower than the competitor because the competitor obviously had to make a little bit of overhead as ownership and then send people out there. Well, if you are just doing school A and you only do school A and you're not paying too many other people and you get a cut of talent, yeah, that's how it works. You have this equipment, you get to do your broadcast, you find somebody you trust to do all the other little things, and if it's a successful broadcast, they'll probably bring you back or they'll keep you in mind. So, Rob, how many relationships do we have because we successfully pulled off a broadcast for them and they wanted to bring us back? If that's really where I'm getting at here. Whether you're a school or organization that wants to do your own live streaming or whether you're an individual getting into the industry, that's how you start. You own your equipment. Don't outsource it to somebody else.
Yeah, 100%. And if you're that production company, as you said, you can cut a lot of overhead. You can kind of dictate how things work. And in our opinion, it's truly the best way to do it. So if you're looking to get started in sportscasting in 2023 and get your foot in the door, start creating your own opportunities, build your own production company. All of that is stuff that we teach you in the SHN Sports Association. And for a very nominal, affordable fee of only $19 or $20 a month, you can be a part of the association. You can get plugged in. You can get involved. And you can also ask us questions, and we'll give you advice and tips throughout the journey as well. I've already had one member reaching out, asking me some simple technical questions. We're not a tech support company, but he had a simple question. I was able to answer it and provided it to him, and that was value for him already. And you go out and make one sell with some of the sales techniques that I'm starting to teach, man, you'll recoup your investment plus some for the next 5 to 10 years. When we first started SHN, and this is still true in 2023, maybe you don't have the money to go out and get equipment. We were able to secure a sponsor from the get-go, an orthodontic specialist in Georgetown, that said, I believe in you guys. I want to get on board with this. When you go in and talk to somebody and you're energetic and you're passionate, they sense that and they want to be a part of it. And that's the whole thing. You want people to feel like they're part of something special. So we presented that to this gentleman and said, hey, we're bringing something to this community that they haven't had before at this level. We'd like you to partner with us to help this be available to families who can't attend the games. He said, sign me up. He wrote us a check, and that check literally paid for our first sets of equipment that helped us bring that. So you don't have to go into this thinking, I need to go take out a massive loan. I can sit here right now and truthfully say, and I'm so happy to say this and not boasting about it, Karl, and you and I would not boast about it, but we are happy to say that we have never, ever taken out any sort of a loan, line of credit, or used a credit card when it comes to SHN. We've been able to generate funds, purchase equipment, and grow the business solely on sponsorship revenue that has came in. And that's something that I'm very proud of because it's real information that we can take and we can bring it to you in a very real way and not tell you to go out and do something that we ourselves haven't done before.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have used a credit card, but not spending money we don't have. That's kind of the main thing there is I don't think that you should gamble too much on this, but, hey, now's a good time to plug the free resources. Go to members.shn.com. SHN Sports, members.shnsports.com, and you'll get to see some of our free resources there. I need to update it because, Rob, you're currently using a pretty cool little thing right there that I found when one of our older $200 plus boards went out, and I'm thinking I want something that's maybe around $100 to $150 that does the trick. You have that PodTrack P4 by Zoom. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It has its own built-in headphone amplifier. You just need a little bit of adapter to get the 1/4-inch connections for these headsets in. It has XLR ports. It connects to the computer. I think that's a great find that, really only came out a couple years ago. There you go. Yeah, it's right there. We need to add that to the free resources because those free resources, nothing else has really changed. We recommend these headsets. I'm currently using the the Rodercaster Pro 2 as my mixer. It's great. It's perfect for streaming. It's much higher end. I basically said, you know what, hey, we did the Huddle graduation last year, and instead of getting my cut, I wanted this mixer because, I thought that would be something that would be, something that would be beneficial, and I use it on all of my UTSA broadcasts. I'm fortunate enough to be working Division I with UTSA right now, so they'll let me bring in my own gear for certain broadcasts. Like I use this for UTSA soccer. I used it for some of our volleyball broadcasts, and I use it for every baseball game. So, I think when it comes down to gear, you can definitely spend a lot of money, but we also have the affordable things in there. So if you're doing high school sports, the affordable stuff will work just fine. If you're starting to work your way up, then instead of maybe, like I said, going for that ultimate conquest where you're thinking, okay, now if I have X amount of dollars, I can buy this many more sets of equipment, might be worth, instead of buying multiple sets of equipment, you just invest that money in higher end gear so you can do higher end productions. So, we have those Panasonic camcorders, the X1500, and then there's the X2000 that has an SDI output and a head handle, and then the AGCX10. We actually got that with some COVID grant money for small businesses, and the quality on that is broadcast quality. We kind of talk about all those kinds of things. So there's a lot that goes into sports production, and again, you can spend a lot of money, but there's cost-efficient ways to avoid spending a lot of money that we teach you at SHN, because sometimes you'll run into somebody who is very smart and knowledgeable of the industry, and they'll show you how they do it, and how they do it might cost, and I kid you not, 20-something grand just for the video aspect of it. While if you were to talk to us, and you were trying to figure out every individual here, that's part of being in the association. It's like, hey, join our general chat discussion and say, hey, I'm just starting out. I am looking to do this, right? And we will sort of give you a little roadmap. It's like, okay, well, first off, audio, this is what we recommend in this price point. And then, hey, here's video, this is what we recommend in this price point. Oh, you got a gig doing that? Well, in that case, we recommend this, So it comes down to, there's a million ways to do a broadcast. So be part of the SHN Sports Association, and we can actually individualize how you can most cost effectively do those broadcasts. Because let me tell you, I work with UIW for football, and they have a new production truck that's $250,000, and you too can buy that $250,000 production truck if you have $250,000 laying around to do broadcasting. But obviously, I would say that most of us don't have those kinds of resources, but we could still, and Rob and I are in the process of doing this, put on a similar ESPN Plus production quality, and that'll be part of the association once we hammer that down and feel like we can share it with our association members.
Yeah, 100%. Join the association, members.shnsports.com. It's not a long-term commitment. It's just month to month, but we guarantee we're going to provide resources that will really be beneficial to you. Sales resources as well. I've had some folks reaching out saying, I don't really need it. I'm not really interested in any broadcast information. I feel like I've got that down, but he said, I need more information on how to do sales. That's perfect. It's all about relationships, and those are things that I teach you. A lot of it's common sense, but it's things that you need to really hammer down and realize that it's built on relationships. Perfect example, Bridget and I, my beautiful bride, and we have our second baby on the way in July. I did not go for a second year with a really good program at North Dakota State. I was very privileged, thankful to be there. It was great money, the best gig that I've had as far as that goes yet. But I realized, family is more important now that we're having a second child on the way. We came back into Huntsville, Texas. I didn't have a gig lined up, but I felt confident going on, honestly, number one, because of my faith, but then number two, because of the relationships that I built in this community. And I knew if I came back, I would be able to get something started here. And so doors are already starting to open to broadcast some area high schools as well, to get back into some of that stuff. And then also just doing different ventures, using the things that we've learned through sports broadcasting that I'm now doing at a community level, learning how to interview. That's been critical to me, and all those things. That's the joy of the sports broadcasting world, is it opens up the gates to a lot, and it's all built on relationships. So been a fun one here on this first one, Karl. That's how you get started with sports broadcasting in 2023, and we'll have a lot more videos. We want you to join us every single Wednesday morning, 9:30 a.m. Central, and you can also interact with us live. Send in your questions. If you've got questions, maybe you're going back and watching this here on our SHN Sports YouTube channel or through the association circle, and you say, you know what, I have a question, but it's not live. How can I ask it? Just email us, info@shnsports.com. Any question that you have related to sports broadcasting, production, and we'll answer those here on Coffee with Karl and Rob. Again, info@shnsports.com. Karl gets the same emails that I do when you email that, so we'll both be here. It's kind of like we're tag teaming this. It's not one over the other. It's both of us together working, utilizing our knowledge and our experiences at the highest levels to be able to help you as you grow your sports broadcasting career. Been a fun one, Karl. Looking forward to the next episode.
Yeah, Rob, if you're listening, like, comment, subscribe, those good things. And really, yeah, just kind of keep this conversation going. This first 30 minutes was a fun one, but, I think down the road, as we kind of build more of an audience, because obviously we didn't expect too many people here today. We should check the comments before we sign off, Rob, just a thought. I think that this last little part should be open for Q&A, because I think that there's a lot we can do. And if we don't know the answer, we can let you know if we can find out, obviously, as long as you keep it within our realm of potential understanding. If you're starting to get, into politics or religion, that might be a little too much for us. But we're great here doing broadcasting stuff, and we love to, just kind of get people involved in broadcasting, because that's what we're really here for, is to help you advance your career. And again, even it comes down to this. Don't rely on us to get you your gigs. You got to make your own breaks, but we'll teach you how.
Absolutely. Well, again, thanks for being a part. We've had a few folks, nobody commenting today, but we will keep these going every Wednesday. Consistency is key, and we're here for you. Join the association, members.shnsports.com. Hey, maybe a little bit of a teaser, maybe in some future episodes. How about AI? That's the buzzword right now. I've been utilizing AI technology for a lot of the things that I'm doing, not only with article creation and different things like that, but also image creation. Logos? Maybe with AI. That and more coming up on future episodes here on Coffee with Karl and Rob. Thanks a lot, Karl. Been fun. Looking forward to connecting with our community and continuing to grow what we're doing here in the sports broadcasting world.
Oh, yeah, as long as AI doesn't replace us, I'm going to think that we're going to keep doing this. So, yeah, looking forward to it, Rob.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us again. Email those questions, info@shnsports.com. Until next time, have a great day.